I've been out and around to one.
Okay, you just gonna go back to the phone? Hello?
Yes. Panic movies.
You don't like point it at the phone, like make sure you tell everybody, yeah. Make sure you silence your phone. I kind of know that. So he's good to have that reminder.
Fat chance. That's what I'm gonna get.
Good evening and welcome to the Candidate Forum featuring candidates from the Uvalde Consolidated Independent School District Board elections for the East Zone and the Uvalde City Council. Tonight's forum is sponsored by Southwest Texas Junior College. My name is Aviera Haynes. I'm a political science instructor and current president of the Faculty Association here at SWTJC, and I will serve as your moderator for the forum tonight. Here are the ground rules that were given to the candidates prior to the forum. Each candidate will have 2 minutes for an opening statement and 1 minute for each question. Our timekeeper, who is seated here in the front, will raise a 10-second card to warn the speaker when 10 seconds remain and a time card when time is up. We ask that the speaker immediately conclude his or her remarks at that point. In order to ensure fairness for all candidates, we will closely follow the time limits. We expect the audience to please let the speakers be heard. This is not a town meeting. Questions, comments will not be accepted. Prior to the start of the forum, the order of speaking was determined by drawing of lots. Tonight, we will begin with the candidates for Uvalde City Council. The order for those candidates will be number 1, Mr. Philip Hanna, running for District 3. Number 2, Mr. Lalo Zamora for District 1. Number 3, Mr. Pete Arredondo, District 3. And number 4, Mrs. Santa Perez, District 1. Let's get started. All right. So number 1 for City Council, Mr. Philip Hanna. Thank you very much for joining us tonight.
Go first.
You get to set the bar for everyone else, right? You get to set it way up here. Okay. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
Okay. So our first question tonight, what is your approach to handling complicated issues?
Well, I was recently at a city council
I'm sorry.
meeting.
Hold on. Your opening statement. Y'all knew I would mess up at some point, right? You know what? Let's give you an opening statement. How about that? Okay.
Well, yeah.
So 2-minute opening statement. Go ahead.
Yeah, well, I just heard that there was open seating on or open seats on the council when I was driving to work on the radio, and I was like thinking, I should do that, like I always wanted to, make the world a better place. So, and the best place starts at home. So I was like, well, I don't really know anything about anything, but I guess I'll just throw my hat in the ring and see what happens. And I've been, in Uvalde since 2017, and from College Station, and I didn't even have a car when I moved here. I had like $700. Like I had first month's rent, so got a job, and and when I would walking home from the grocery store, everyone would pick me up, give me a ride, and I was like, this is a great town, and just want to give back, I guess. So.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
That's an awesome story. Thank you. Okay, so now we'll start with the first question. How about that?
Yeah.
Okay. So what is your approach to handling complicated issues?
All right.
You have 1 minute.
Well, like I said, I was recently at a city council meeting, and what they do is they ask the lawyer, the city lawyer, when there's something that they don't know about, like what can we do, what's legal, and then they find what's best within the law to answer the question. So go to the experts.
That's right. That's the best way to learn, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Question number 2. How do you plan to involve residents in the decision-making process in Uvalde?
Well, I think we should, more social media. Like everyone's on that now. And, we should take polls of everyone paying attention. So, if they know what's going on, we know we can get a pulse of what the residents want. So social media.
Great, thank you. So if there is anything maybe that you're familiar with in in the city code or in the zoning codes that maybe needs change, if you're familiar with anything that needs to have some immediate attention to, what would that be?
Well, I am not, I gotta say, like I said, I am not familiar with the city code at all, but I would refer to the expert, ask the city lawyer, what the laws are, and wow, that question was way over my head. Sorry.
No problem.
Yeah.
I mean, no, I appreciate you.
Yeah.
I'm here and I want to serve, and I'm willing to learn, and that's a big part of it.
Mm-hmm.
So our final question for you tonight: when you hear about something that concerns you in the city, what steps would you take to see that concern is resolved?
You don't have any kind of. Can you ask that question again?
So if you hear about something that concerns you
Mm-hmm.
in the city, that's happening in the city, what do you see your role as a council member in seeing that particular concern is resolved?
Well, that's pretty broad. Again, you have to see what the laws are, and that's really all you can do is see what the law is and see what the best way to solve it is within the confines of the law. And if the law is old or needs changing, then that's what the city council member's job is to do, is to, adjust it for the times.
Perfect.
Sorry.
Thank you. No,
Yeah.
that was wonderful. Thank you. I appreciate you being here.
I appreciate y'all letting me be here. Thank you. All right. Put that here.
Yeah, you can just lay it down there. Thank you very much. Okay, our next candidate for Uvalde City Council from District 1, Mr. Lalo Zamora. And I promise I won't forget to give you your opening statement.
Thank you.
So if you go ahead and get started, you got 2 minutes for your opening statement.
2 minutes. Just like Mr. Hanna was saying, when I first joined 4 years ago, I didn't know basically nothing about politics. I'm not a politician. I'm a retired military man. And one thing that I do know is how to get the job done. As a city council, one of my first things was what can we do to better the city? As a city council, that is your priority. What benefits Uvalde? What benefits the citizens of Uvalde? And every decision that we sit there when we're in council is one of the first things I look is, does this decision that I'm going to make benefit the city of Uvalde? Are all the citizens of Uvalde going to benefit from this? If majority of them benefit, then we're going to say yes. And as far as what I like to see here in Uvalde is, I want Uvalde to prosper. I want Uvalde to grow. I want Uvalde, when people come to Uvalde, I want them to live here in Uvalde. I want them to work here in Uvalde. Right now, we have a lot of people that come to Uvalde and live in Uvalde, and they work in Eagle Pass, Carrizo, Del Rio. We want them living here and working here. And if we can do that, and one way would probably be looking at our taxes. As councilman, we've never raised our tax rate for the city of Uvalde. It's been constant. As a matter of fact, I think we lowered it twice since I've been at city council, and that's one of our main goals here. It's just to make Uvalde beautiful, make Uvalde great, make Uvalde prosper, and that's what we try to do as city council. And you're right, it takes 2 years to even learn how politics works. That's one thing I like to do.
Great, thank you. Okay, so what is your approach to handling complicated issues?
Complicated issues. That's an everyday thing in city council with Uvalde. I get some calls, and people complain, and it's little stuff. But the main issues, like, okay, there's Like, for instance, one time they called me, and it's a senior citizen. He says, hey, you know what? I'm exiting the cemetery, and I can't see to my right because of the tree. Well, guess what? You just go to that supervisor and tell the supervisor and the city manager, hey, we need to look at this and get the job done. That's real simple. You know, I try to stress to the city manager and the assistant city manager and the city staff, too, is that common sense is the best way to do job in the city. I mean, you can throw politics out of the way if common sense at the end is what's going to make the job done.
Right, thank you. So is there anything currently in the zoning code that you see needs a change?
Yes, there's a lot of things in the code that need to be changed. For instance, right now, there's a big issue with, properties that are being condemned, properties that need to be cleaning. That is one of the biggest things right now. And we go to the experts because it's private property. We can't tell a citizen, hey, you need to do this to your property, or you can't cut that tree. It's their property. But there's codes that we all have to live by, and the city, to me, it hurts me that 99% of the citizens of Uvalde can obey almost all the codes in the city, and we got 1% that like to abuse them. Like our landfill on those free days, we were getting that issue with a lot of people throwing stuff over. So that's one thing that we need to look at.
Right, thank you. So how do you involve residents when it comes to the decision-making process?
That's a good question. I mean, a lot of people come up to us, hey, I need this change, and we need to do this in the city. The only way you're going to get heard is if you go to the city council, sign up, and get your 2 minutes or your 3 minutes and speak and let the city council know, hey, I have this issue. I want this issue addressed, and then we will advise the administration to go look at it, get with the attorneys, and see what we can do to fix this issue that the concern of the citizens have brought up against us. But if nobody goes to city council and speak, we will never know what your issues are. You know what I mean? There's all kinds of issues that people need to come and tell us. If we don't hear it from the citizens that there is an issue, it'll never get heard. Even if just one person comes in and tells us, then maybe another one will come later.
Thank you. And our final question, when you hear about something that concerns you in the city, what steps do you take as a council member to make sure that that concern is resolved?
Again, another good question. I've been a city councilman for almost 4 years, and I've had several issues that were brought up to me. And the first thing I do, I sit down with the assistant city manager and the city manager and I say, hey, look, this concern was brought up to me. What can we do to fix it? And I tell them, I say, go out there, go see what we need to do. And then I go again, 2 weeks or a week later, I go, what did we find out on this issue? What can we do? What can we do as a city council? And we brought it up in front of city council, some of these issues. I think there was, for one was the golf course. The other one is the cemetery. The cemetery is another big issue that we're trying to fix. So, but those are the citizens that are coming to us, addressing those issues. That's why it's going to get done.
Great. Thank you very much for joining us tonight, Mr. Mazomar. Up next, for the office in Uvalde City Council, District 3, we have Mr. Pete Arredondo. All right, you've got 2 minutes for your opening statement, sir.
Good evening, everyone, and thank you all for joining us here, and everybody that's live on social media and on the page. I thank you all for joining us, and also the junior college for hosting this event. I think it's important that we're able to be heard, so you can address us and ask questions, so we can answer as best as we can. Again, I'm Pete Arredondo. I'm Uvaldean. I was born and raised here. I'm a graduate of Uvalde High School, UCISD product. Also a graduate from the junior college here from the police academy back in 1993, before any of you all over there were even born, probably. I am also a graduate from Texas A&M and have a bachelor's degree in organizational management. I worked for the city of Uvalde for 16 years before I left and moved to Laredo. I started there as a telecommunicator and 911 dispatcher and worked my way up to the ranks of an assistant chief of police, where we dealt with the budget management. And matter of fact, I dealt with the budget myself. We would prepare and manage the budget and obviously spend within our means, which I think is a priority. In Laredo, I pretty much did the same thing. It was a lot larger agency in Laredo. Our budget exceeded $20 million. Again, that was all for public safety and management of state and federal grants. Again, we never let ourselves overspend what our budgets allotted, which I think is important, and I think it's important for the taxpayers to know. Even though I have a background in law enforcement, have been in law enforcement for 29 years, but budget management and finance work is just something I enjoy, quite honestly. So in this role as a city councilman, I think that's important for you to have someone that's going to represent you and manage the budget correctly and make sure that the funds are being spent correctly and they're being spent correctly across the city, whether it's public safety or public service or economic development, wherever the topic may be. We're running out of time.
Thank you. You had that much time left. You're good. Okay, so we'll begin with the questions. You'll have 1 minute to respond to each question. So when you hear about something that concerns you in the city, what steps do you see a council member's role in resolving that?
Sure. So a council member to me is someone that's going to provide resources. A council member to me is someone that's going to provide resources to city management and city personnel to make sure that the job is done to the best of their ability. Communication obviously is key, and you're going to hear me repeat that word here in just a bit. I think through communication, everything can be resolved, whatever the issues may be. And so coming up with a positive conclusion is important, and I think all that is based off of your communication. So city councilmen should provide support to the city personnel, city management, to make sure that we're providing the service we should for our taxpayers.
Right. Thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
If you could change one thing in the zoning code, what would that be?
You know, I've dealt with the zoning code a few times. I'm a prior business owner and had good positive relations. I just, one thing I think we can improve is that we should look at cases on a case-by-case basis. I think it's kind of like, for example, our police officers, when they apply for a job, and I'll refer to that as an example. One thing I ask them, if you see somebody speeding or you make 10 stops for speeding, are you going to write 10 speeding tickets? And the answer is no. That's not the answer. The answer is to get people to slow down, to minimize traffic accidents, and keep people from being injured. So when I say that is you go by a case-by-case basis. So I feel that's very important, and I think if we can improve on that, I think it'd be very important that we could do that. Yes, ma'am.
So how would you involve residents in the decision-making process for Uvalde?
Sure. You know, this for people that are into technology, obviously the internet and social media is a very big, or it's used very well. I think we should invite people to do so, to use that, to reach out to us. There are some people that don't do that. I think we should be able to network, whether it's with neighbors, and encourage them to contact their neighbors that are elderly that might not be able to communicate with us, and have them reach out to us if they need so. While I'm campaigning, I'm going door to door. I'm passing out a door hanger, informative door hanger, and on that door hanger, I'm providing my cell phone number to every resident in my district. So as far as my constituents are concerned, all they're going to have to do is have that door hanger that's on their door and call me, and I can help them out.
Okay, and our final question tonight. What is your approach to handling complicated issues?
And Neil's going to use the word communication again. I guess to me, nothing's complicated. Everything has a solution, and that solution starts with communication. I always say that something can always be improved or corrected or implemented in a positive manner as long as you're within the means of the law and guidelines and ordinances in the state. So communication is key to me.
Great. Thank you very much for attending tonight.
Thank you, and I appreciate y'all being here.
And our final candidate for Uvalde City Council, District 1, Mrs. Santa Perez.
Good evening. My name is Santa Perez. I was hoping we'd have a podium. It would have been easier for me to stand there and be able to read what I wrote. I wasn't sure I was going to make it tonight, but thank God I was able to. So I'm going to read what I wrote. Hello, my name is Santa Perez, and I'm running for Uvalde City Council, District 1. I was born and raised in Uvalde, Texas. I am a longtime resident of Uvalde. I attended Uvalde High School and Southwest Texas Junior College. I worked for the past 30 years in the retail and property management and now own a small family trucking business. My family and I have lived in District 1 for 25 years. I have dedicated my life to my family, and I have two sons, Alex and Nathan. My son, Alex, graduated from Uvalde High School in 2018. My son, Nathan, will graduate in May this year. I'm so proud of my son's accomplishments. As a parent, this has been my greatest accomplishment. My husband, Hugo, and I have been married 29 beautiful years and own a small family trucking business, which we manage and operate together with my two sons. I am committed to serving the citizens of our great city and contribute to its growth and prosperity. I will support public safety, encourage continued improvement of the city streets, infrastructure, and encourage new economic development while supporting our local businesses. I would also like to work on improving communication between the city administration and the citizens of Uvalde. If elected, it will be a great privilege to serve my community on the city council. So that's my introduction.
Great, thank you. Okay, so we'll get started with the questions. You have 1 minute to respond. How would you involve residents in the decision-making process of the city council?
Well, I find a lot of times that most of our residents don't know that they have a city council representative for their district. And in saying that, I would like, if elected, make myself known that I represent their community, that they need to come and address their issues to me if they can't get their issues resolved at the city. And like that, I might be able to help them resolve whatever issues that they're having in their community, in their district or in the community of Uvalde, because I would be representing the whole community of Uvalde. So at this time, it just depends on the issue that they would bring before me. I would have to do a little research and probably visit if the issue is addressed in a certain place.
Okay, great, thank you. So how do you approach complicated issues in handling those issues?
Complicated issues. Well, first I need to know what the issue is. And then from knowing what the issue is how I would handle it. And at this point, you know, I wouldn't, let's say situation arises. It depends if the resident is having a problem with another resident, but yet the police is not really doing much about the situation. So I'm assuming that if that resident comes and tells me something in regards to that, I would like to speak to the city manager, and maybe the city manager would be able to approach the city chief in knowing how to address situations like that. But of course, at the time, it just depends what the situation is.
Great, thank you. If there's anything you're familiar with in the zoning code that needs to be changed, what is that?
Zoning code. Okay. Well, at this point in the zoning code, I'm not too sure. No one's told me. I've been talking to some of my constituents, and those aren't really issues at this time that they have brought before me. I know there's been ordinances that they've I'll just use an ordinance as sample. I've had ladies that used to have at least a yard sale once a month, you know, and now they can only have it 4 times out of the year. And they don't see any reason why they can't have it once a month. You know, that would be something that would be a positive change for certain persons in the community, you know. That would be something that I would like to address if giving the possibility to do that. I just use that as an example.
Great, thank you. And so our final question. So when you hear about something that concerns you in the city, what steps do you see as a council member's job and the steps to take to see that that concern is resolved?
Well, I've already had concerns myself in the city, and I directly took them to the city mayor, Don McCaughlin. And in doing that, of course, he explained to me how to address that situation. So then I brought it before the city council. And after several visits to the city council and the city council chamber, we were able to resolve those concerns that I had. And I think that's the way the residents of Uvalde are able to change any concerns they have. They have to prepare, do the research, and then present it before the city council board. I'm a big talker.
That's great.
Sorry.
Okay.
I can go on and on.
Thank you so much for being here tonight.
Yes,
And
I do appreciate you inviting me, and I'm glad I was able to come. And I'm glad that we were able to do this because in any, I don't know if anybody's going to address, are they going to ask any questions or no?
No, ma'am. It's just a
Okay, it's
question
just
and
us.
forum.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
Well, that would have been great if they would have been
Thank
able
you.
to.
Anyone that's here you can visit after.
Okay,
the
but
event.
that sounds good.
Yes,
Okay.
thank you.
I said I was a big talker. Sorry. Thank you.
Okay, so that wraps up our candidates for Uvalde City Council. And so now we will move forward with the Uvalde Consolidated Independent School District Board elections for the East Zone. And the order of appearance for those candidates, number 1 will be Mr. J.J. Suarez. Number 2, Ms. Ann Sanford. And number 3, Mr. Edward Trevino. And so we will go ahead and get started with the school board elections. Mr. Suarez. Welcome. You have 2 minutes for your opening statement.
Okay, thank you. Good evening, everybody, and thank you to Southwest Texas Junior College for sponsoring this event. My name is J.J. Suarez. I am from Uvalde. I've moved here in 1983. I've been married for 18 years, and we have 2 wonderful kids. My wife and I, Bethany, have 2 wonderful kids. We have a sophomore, and we have a 7th grader who keep us very busy, hence the gray in the beard. But I am a graduate of Uvalde High School, 1990 graduate, and I attended Southwest Texas Junior College in 1991, and then decided to go into the police academy like Mr. Arredondo. And so I went to the police academy in 1994 and was hired in Pearsall in 1995 and worked there for 2 years, and then I just missed Uvalde so much, I decided to come back and serve my community that I so love. And I was a police officer from 97 to 2008, and I was given the opportunity to enter the education world, which I feel that was really where my calling was. I was a DARE officer with the city of Uvalde for 6 years, and I really enjoyed teaching. So when I was given the opportunity to come to the college and work here as a dual credit instructor for criminal justice, I just took advantage of it. I love Uvalde. I love this community. I love our school. I love our school district. My kids have been here since they were able to go to school. We never left. We never abandoned Uvalde High School or Uvalde CISD. And so I just wanted to give back to our community. I heard a quote yesterday from Mr. Harris. I attended my son's National Honor Society induction, And Mr. Harris said, to be a leader, you have to learn how to serve. Anybody that knows me in this community knows that I love to serve. I love to serve the youth, being involved with youth sports, and I just appreciate your support.
Thank you. So we'll begin with the first question. You have 1 minute to respond. What are the current challenges facing UCISD, and what do you see as your role as a board member in facing those challenges?
So the challenges that I've seen and I've heard is really just the teachers having the resources that they need to educate our kids. And changing learning management systems has always been a touchy subject. And from talking to my kids, and the teachers don't really know how to do certain learning management systems. And so I feel that getting those in place and getting our teachers educated with the learning management systems will then trickle down to our students. And if we have happy teachers, educated teachers, and with that, we will be able to reach our students and help them become successful in life.
Great. We'll stay with the teacher theme here on the next question. So what steps do you feel the school board can take to improve teacher retention?
I really think just the resources and having giving them the support that they need. And I feel as a school board member is being available to the teachers and asking them, what can we do to keep you here? What do we need to provide for you? What do we need to, what kind of incentives can we give you for you to stay here? Because we have such a great community, and we need our educators to stay here and work with our kids because we have such great kids. And I think just being supportive with them and just allowing them to let us know what they need to just support them and keep them here.
Thank you. Next question. How do you see UCISD responding to the competition, the increasing competition from charter schools and private schools?
Well, I think UCISD is rising up to the challenge now. We have a great leader. We have a great superintendent, and who just believes in Uvalde. And so I feel that Uvalde is going to be making some positive strides in the very near future. And so if elected as a school board member, I would just support our superintendent, our administration, and our teachers as well.
Thank you. And our final question tonight, if voters were to approve a bond, what projects do you see as priority for the school district?
I would see we need to really work on getting our class sizes down to roughly about 20 students. So if that means that we need to build a new building and get smaller class sizes, I think that's a plus. I think our athletic areas need some improvement. We're way behind the time on that, and so it's just positive and Uvalde and being proudful being from Uvalde and just showing that Coyote Lobo spirit.
Great. Thank you for joining us tonight, Mr. Suarez.
Thank you.
Our next candidate for the East Zone of the UCISD School Board is Ms. Ann Sanford. You've got 2-minute opening statement.
Okay, 2 minutes is going to be rough, guys, so I have a long story. My name is Ann Sanford. Ted and I have lived here since 1986. We moved to Uvalde from San Antonio so we could raise our children in the country, which we have done. We have 9 children, and yes, we do have several grandchildren. In fact, our daughter is going to be having our 30th grandchild in June. So anyhow, we have a vested interest in the success of our city, our state, our country, and one of the things that really that I've kind of really honed in on is the condition of our country And we all need to have a big praise the Lord for living in Texas. I can assure you of that. And so we do have a good governor and a conservative governor. We have good city officials. Our mayor is just right in there. So we appreciate being here and living here. We have a small business, Sanford Waterworks. 4 of our sons, 2 daughter-in-laws, and 2 grandchildren work in that business. And I have left that to them as of about 2 years ago. So anyhow, I've retired from that. I am a certified Texas teacher and Oklahoma. I've taught in the public schools in Oklahoma. And then when I moved to Texas, I became certified here in Texas. And I've spent my teaching career there homeschooling 7 children. So I've definitely had a lot of experience with children, raising them and watching them be successful.
Right. Thank you. We'll begin with the first question. What are the current challenges that you see facing UCISD, and how, as a board member, would you assist in facing those challenges?
I think we're looking at challenges not just in the Uvalde school system, but all over the country and in our smaller schools and larger schools. And that is instilling in our students and our children a love of country, appreciation for our Constitution, the rights that's provided us, and the Bill of Rights, that they would know those and know what they mean. And also the preamble, I tell you, my about 11-year-old granddaughter, and she comes in and we're talking about the Constitution, and man, she spouts out the preamble. So anyhow, that's where I see the challenges for our children is understanding their history and love of country and love of God.
Thank you. So, what steps do you see that the board can take to improve teacher retention?
All right, as being a teacher for a while in the public schools, of course, always money's a good thing. if we can provide them a good salary. And I think as the school board, we need to work as a team, and that's how I perceive the school board, is a team to support our superintendent, to support our teachers, and whatever ways we can to retain good teachers. Good. Let's leave that in there, okay? Oh.
Right. Thank you. So, how do you see UCISD responding to the competition that is coming from charter schools and private schools?
Well, I think competition is a good thing. And you're just not ever going to have a really good ball team if you don't have some competition. I have 2 sons that are basketball coaches, and anyhow, good competition it really inspires the team members and the coach, and the same with our school.
Thank you. And our final question tonight: if voters were to approve a bond, how would you prioritize the usage of that bond?
Well, one of the things I wanted to throw in here before I get through, and I don't know that a bond would is that what we'd do with a bond, but I'm really interested and want to pursue the education of parents and children in the dangers of human trafficking. We just need to look around our community a little and see what's actually going on here, and for them to be educated. And I know that's not going to be what we do with a bond, but I do want to get that in there, that I have a big interest in this education and of human trafficking that's going on in our country, in our cities, all over. And that's it.
Great. Thank you so much for joining us tonight.
Yes.
And our final candidate for the Uvalde School Board is Mr. He's not even going to let me introduce him. No, Mr. Edward Trevino. You have 2 minutes for opening statement.
Good evening. My name is Edward Trevino. I was born in Uvalde, raised in Uvalde, and graduated in Uvalde. I Right now, I'm currently with my fiance, and we've got 4 kids. Got a blended family. We've got now we got a grandchild that just came into our lives, so we're really excited about that. My boys, they're entrepreneurs. They sell insurance, and my fiance's children, the one's going to North Texas State, and the other one's about to finish her doctorate in physical therapy. I've been a business owner in Uvalde. Been in the trucking business for 30 years. I currently, my position is a district terminal manager. I oversee roughly 250 trucks. And I just here in Uvalde, I just grew up with teachers. I mean, I was surrounded with teachers. My mom was a retired school teacher for 36 years. My sister was an administrator for 20 plus years. And even my brother-in-law is a school teacher. So I know what it's like, and I know what the teachers go through the day in, day out. I saw it. I saw how hard they work and how little they got paid. And then as far as administrators go, I understand what you go through, and there are tough decisions you have to make, and I see what you guys have to deal with, and I appreciate it. What I bring, I don't have any children. I don't have any children that are attending school. I have some family members that are attending school, but I feel that the need to start right here with our children, start with our school district, will help Uvalde. And I think it needs to start right here with our education.
Thank you. So if voters were to approve a bond, what do you foresee as the projects to use that bond for?
Well, what I want and what I need are a couple of different things. You know, what I want is a new football stadium, but that's not really going to happen. I think what we need is, I think we need to look at, get with the powers that be, and we need to look at what our current infrastructure is, kind of look at all the high schools, look at the schools that we have currently, see what we need to do. Yes, I'd like to see a high school. I'd love to see a high school, but you know, to answer that question, it would be a difficult question to ask. But I definitely think that we need to look at what we currently have, how we can improve on that, and then make a decision.
Right. Thank you. So what are some of the current challenges that are facing UCISD, and what is your role as a board member in facing those challenges?
Well, like anything, I think communication is vital. Challenges, I think if we get with administration, they're the ones that get the direction going for us. We get with them, and then from there, my role as a school board member is to serve as a bridge between what our parents want and what we can actually do. So we're the voice. We're the voice that's going to carry for everyone that has children in our school district, and then from there, we just work with them.
Thank you. So, how do you feel that UCISD should, possibly respond to the competition of charter schools and private schools?
Well, I think competition is great. And I think having a good team atmosphere, like that was said earlier, I think that's fantastic. But I think we have challenges. We again have more of a team atmosphere where we can just grow what we have. I think bringing in teachers, recruiting, building on our programs that we have, and basically have a winning atmosphere.
Thank you. And our final question tonight, what steps should the school board take to improve teacher retention?
Well, first, I think they should recruit. I think sign-on bonuses would be awesome. I think retention bonuses would be awesome. I think even, how well they perform. And I think, and I know we're doing that already, but that's what I think we should do. Again, when you have the attitude, the atmosphere, and the culture that has basically a winning atmosphere, I think that's what you're going to get, because people want to work for winners. The other thing is the culture. I call it the quality of life. In pardon that expression, but quality of life meaning for me is am I happy where I work at? Can you hear me? Am I happy where I work at? You know, I got to be happy where I work. And a lot of the teachers, you know, they're happy what they do. And again, where I was at with my mom, when I used to see my mom, to this very day, I see how it affects their lives. I feel how teachers do their time. So sorry about that.
Okay, no problem. Thank you very much for joining us tonight. So that concludes the forum. We want to thank all of the candidates who joined us tonight, and also thank you for your willingness to run for these very important local offices. So good luck to all of you. We also want to thank our host, Southwest Texas Junior College. Special thanks to our Junior College Board of Trustees President, Dr. Watkins, for being here. I also see Dr. Gonzalez and Dr. Harrell slipped in, so thank you all for being here. And we also want to thank the audience for coming and for viewing tonight. And final thing, as a political science instructor, I have to remind you to go vote. Okay? And so early voting begins April 25th. Election day is Saturday, May 7th. Thank you all, and good night.